Welcome to the WCS Group D for the finals, the global finals here in South Korea. I am Wolf, with me as Kyle. We're going to Group D. D for Damaga. Maybe can he get out?
Yeah, Damaga is the last foreigner in WCS. TLO and Stefano are already out. Guys, without further ado, we jump right into the game. Game 1 is actually live here in the group. We are heading into Innovation versus Revival, the only Terran player in the group, up against 3 Zerg players. Let's see what Innovation can do here at game number 1 in our match at the Group D WCS Season 1 Finals in Korea. Starting to the bottom right of the map, we have the runner-up of the GSL Code S. It is
STXO Innovation from Korea.
Innovation. He is a monster against Zerg. The only one to best him in the finals was Solky. Now to the top left we have his current Zerg opponent, starting for EG. The winner, or the runner-up of WCS America, it is
EG Revival Raid Call from America.
Getting the full raid call down there. No lady call.
Yeah. No lady call today. Let's see what he can do here. I'm really excited about this group. Not only do we have Innovation, who is just a master in Starcraft 2, and especially in the matchup against Zergs, but we also have Damaga, and I'm so excited to see him play. Not only because I greatly admire his hairstyle, but also because I personally think that having a European player in this group is just spicing things up a lot.
So you're into the hairstyle?
Oh yeah, his hairstyle is like amazing. If he has still the old one.
Alright, well.
We pulled a triple Damaga at one of the last Home Story Cups with Carmack, Damaga, and myself just standing at the window, and people could not tell us apart. Yeah. Might have had something to do with the distance, I don't know. But I like to think that we are all equally handsome.
Well, yeah. I think you guys really pull it off. I thought you were talking about Revival's hairstyle, though, so I was like, well...
No. I was talking about Damaga here.
I was like, I don't know if you and Revival had the same haircut unless Revival shaved his head recently. And if he did, I don't know why I didn't hear about it.
Not to my knowledge. I don't think that happened.
But yeah, well, for me this is really refreshing because we're going to go into a completely different Zerg player going in here. Innovation plays a style that's really similar to MVP. We just ended up casting MVP getting out of his group. And... you know, Revival, very different from Lucero, though. So, 2 different Zerg styles, probably going to clash here a little bit, even on similar maps, as we do have Akalon now.
Yeah, Akalon is just a great map for this matchup. I really enjoy TVZs on this map. And we have Revival going into the speed upgrade here. The one thing that Revival could really do in WCS America was to make a name for himself, taking down opponents like Snoot and Alive, and then going into the finals up against Hero. And for a long time, it really looked like he would be the dominant force in this matchup, or in the series. He took 2 games right off the bat, but then Hero came back with all the experience that he has, took the finals, but Revival's still a strong runner-up, who is now facing one of the most scariest opponents that he could potentially face in the WCS season finals.
Yeah, definitely true. I mean, Innovation, somebody a lot of people are favoring to take the entire tournament. He did not end up winning the GSL finals. Some people argue he choked. You know, he loses an Overlord here, Revival that is, but kills an SCV. Trying to make the best out of it. I like that. I mean, he knows he's going to lose the Overlord, but sends the Lings in there to try to poke a little bit. Now, Revival, going to this group, he's going to face 2 other Zerg opponents, so this is not the only matchup we'll have to play. Yeah. And for him, you know, he's coming from TSL. Obviously, he's moved into EG. It's been in there for actually quite some time now. But before TSL disbanded, he was one of the players who's been in TSL for the longest period of time, and that was a team full of Zergs. So he has a ton of in-house experience practicing ZVZ, and I expect him to do decently in those matches at the very least.
Yeah, this is mostly going to be about ZVZ. I actually can see a few of those Zerg players just looking at the games that Innovation played and be like, well, you know what, I'm probably going to lose that match. The only thing I'm going to prepare for is ZVZ. Which might sound like a little bit silly, but I could actually see 1 or 2 of them just being like, okay, I'm going to gamble. Because you could face Innovation twice. That could actually happen to you.
It's true. You know, Innovation, one of the best players in the world right now. Everyone's saying he's the best Terran. He is up against roach pressure of some kind here.
Yeah.
Revival loses 2 overlords here and actually causes him to be slightly supply blocked.
To me it's so funny to see Revival going into the roach run here, not only because it's something that he does not only against Terran but also against Protoss. He did it against Hero over and over again and took several games of Hero because of his Ling roach pressure. But it's just a strategy that especially the former TSL Zergs are very fond of. Hyun plays this a lot. Symbol has shown it in all of his games. He's shown it against Bomber, he's shown it against Innovation. And now we have Revival also going for the roach bailing pressure here, which is such a common strategy these days, but especially TSL Zerg players, they are known to love this style.
Yeah, it's very true. TSL, a team that's very close to my heart. I'll always remember that team, and so many good players coming out of there. And sometimes you can just feel the TSL, even though it's long gone. When you look at some of these players who come out of there and moved on to bigger and better things. Revival has always been a good player.
Yeah.
He's going to face a double Widowmine drop here, going into the main base, which means that his roaches are shown here.
Yeah, the roaches are shown. The roach run, no secret anymore. He plays it on those 3 bases, gets now the Spore Crawler immediately for the detection, and that will help him a lot here. Sacrificing the Zerglings, no biggie.
Yeah, losing the Lings is much less important than losing those drones, but he's going into a big all-in attack here.
Exactly, he's going into a huge attack. Ooh,
Nice
a few drones
drone
going
hit.
down. Nice targeting. That's exactly what we talked about earlier. Innovation doing it, but I am afraid a bit for him.
Yeah.
If Revival runs in first with the roaches, taking the shots of the Widow Mines, and then moving in with the Banelings, it might be all over. But
He's also making 2 reactors right now, so those barracks can't be used.
But we could actually see Innovation use targeting here. He's just shown it, and if he does it against the roaches, then sending in Zerglings won't do anything. And so far, there are only a few hits. The cooldown is ready. Here come those Banelings. The roaches are already in the front. The Banes going through, taking down bunker number 1, going into bunker number 2. A lot of the SCVs are gone, and now it's time for the roaches to shine.
A few more Marauders left here. Bunker falls, and I don't know, this is looking, there's no follow-up here. He doesn't actually have any more Lings going through. And
yeah, but he doesn't want to. That's the thing. He doesn't really want to kill him right out. He just wants to get a lead.
And he's going to get that lead. He's killed a lot of Harvesters here.
Yeah, took down a lot of Harvesters, supply depots as well, kills more Harvesters as we speak. In total, he took down 23. 23 SCVs are gone, and now we have a 20 supply lead in Harvesters for Revival. And as you said, he didn't send in reinforcements. He sent in his army, he committed to this attack, and he said, you know what? This is what I want. I want to commit this many resources. I move in, do as much damage as I can, target down as many SCVs as possible, and I drone up behind it.
Yeah. And honestly, my feeling about this is I like it because it's a build that is not all in. It has a lot of flexibility. One thing I really like about Innovation's defense is he targeted the Widow Mines decently, but also he didn't keep his units in the front bunker. He kept them in the back bunkers. He only had 1 Marine in the front bunker, which means that the Banelings that bust on the bunker don't really kill the units inside. A big problem for some of the players we've seen in the past. So I really, really like that. This Ling is going to be annoying for as long as possible. Even Stim's in here to kill that Ling. He wants to land that command center as soon as possible.
25 minerals cannot be more annoying in this game than this.
Yeah, no way.
Well, +1/+1 has been started for Revival. His lair tech is nearly complete. He's taking all this gas, and he kind of took a lot of the momentum away that Innovation is usually building up. And the Terran player holds here, but Revival didn't even expect to crush Innovation with this. This is not something that is really designed to just take you down. It's a very good attack that gives you a lead, but then it's the follow-up that counts. And we were talking a little bit earlier about how after a roach pressure you can go into Ling Muta Baneling when we saw the series with Kang Ho. And this is exactly what Revival does here. A very smart choice, going into those upgrades for his melee units, but also preparing for the Spire and just trying to do as much damage as possible. But now, he's where Innovation feels at home. He's in this mid-game where it's about the multitasking, where it's about being aggressive with multi-prong attacks. So let's see how Revival pairs up against Innovation at this stage of the game.
This is something we saw MVP do, by the way, this one medevac. He uses it as a scout. Because of the booster, instead of using a scan, he can actually fly around everywhere. See all the tech structures, see the base, see the composition, and that's just so much more cost efficient. And even if he loses a lot of hit points and sends it home to repair, it's still more efficient than using a scan, because a scan is always better for a mule if you can afford it. And that's part of the reason why Innovation, even though he took so many losses, he had the 3rd command center, he had the triple mules, and he's actually now up almost 30 supply here. Baneling speed not ready just yet. He does not want to fight off creep.
Yeah, +2/+2 is now being researched. The same is also true for Innovation. Creep spat is going well for Revival, but as you said, we have a supply lead for Innovation. It's
So
a
many
small
Widow
one,
Mines.
but it's there.
Yeah. And a lot of it's in these Widow Mines he's moving forward here with. He's going to have them set up at the bottom of the ramp. This is perfect. He splits them well here. Banelings have speed, but they're off creep, and here come those Widow Mine hits.
The Widow Mines getting not the best hits here. A lot of them are now gone to the Banelings, and there's still a few in the back. The reinforcements need to stream in, though. Revival has to take this. He needs to defend this 4th base that he's currently building.
Oh, the mutas, they were just not ready. You know, he was able to boost it and get away with those units in the medevacs.
Yeah, but at this point, it actually is like one of those things where I have to say that Revival did what was expected from him. He could have done more, you're completely right. If he takes down the Medivacs, that would have been amazing. But right now, he's going to be happy that he saved his 4th base, and he's just making sure that he has the lava, which is one of the most difficult things to do for him right now.
He's also on par with the upgrades. Upgrades very even for both players. And, you know, it's just such a struggle to have to break down this ramp every time you want to attack that Widow Mine.
And not getting the best city there, but still Innovation pushing into this gap.
Yeah, he's getting that hatchery down.
Revival has to commit. He doesn't want to, but he has to. He has no choice here. But Innovation, he's taking those shots. He's using the terrain to his advantage and takes down the 4th base. And this is where things are starting to look very grim for Revival.
Such a beautiful attack and a beautiful split here. Revival losing this base. It's going to be hard to recover from. He's not out of this just yet, but he's in really, really rough shape. Like you said, he did what was expected of him. He saved the hatchery, but the second wave, that was the problem. And that might be the nail that locks him in the coffin.
You're so right. Wave number 2, that's where things went south. But what we really had here was just Revival doing damage early on with those Roach Banelings, but apparently not enough. With the extra mules that we had for Innovation, he could make up for the discrepancy in Harvesters, and he took a lead in overall supply, and he never neglected his upgrades either. So this is great play here by Innovation once again, and Revival, he's able to really give Innovation a run for his money in game number 1, but in the end, it looks like the Titanium player might be able to prevail after all.
Yeah. May very well be the case. So many medevacs here for Innovation. He's continuing the attack. Needs a split again. The Widow Mine upgrade is done. The Widow Mine shots are excellent here.
Banelings moving in. The split is good though. Those medevacs are going down against the Mutalists, and this is where Innovation has to pay a little bit more attention. He needs to take those guys down. He can't afford to lose all of them, but with the Marine numbers that he has on the ground, it's not going to be a big issue.
It's almost as if he wanted the medevacs specifically to tank for his Marines so he can kill the mutas. Now the hatchery is definitely have to be cancelled.
A lot of minerals are here still left for Revival. He's trying to transition. He's trying to get those infestors out.
He has no larva right now.
Yeah, big problem for him, especially since he's playing a very lava-heavy style.
Yeah, very larva-heavy because of all these lings, and the Widow Mines are giving him some trouble.
Revival just lacking a macro hatch here.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And, you know, he lost that hatchery at the 3rd base as well. Or I should say 4th in this case.
Yeah, if you go into this 4th, as sometimes as a Zerg player, you look at the game, you're like, I need another hatch, and you think about, okay, why not just get another base? But sometimes having that macro hatch just as a backup is worth so much.
Yeah.
If you lose one of the satellite bases, you still have production.
Exactly, you're not going to lose your actual in-house macro hatchery. That's not going to get sniped. You're going to lose the base on the right side. That's a little bit harder to defend.
And Innovation is now playing like the boss he is. He's rallying units across the map. He never slips in his macro. He never slips in his micro. On the way to the top left, 50 supply advantage, halfway done with 3-3. Revival doesn't have his hive tech yet. He cannot go into these upgrades. And the 3rd phase of the EG player is very much exposed against this massive army of his opponent.
Yep, a lot of Widow Mines still available for shots here, and the shots are excellent. Revival running out of steam. Perfect splits by Innovation, dropping the Manor Mules, and he is going to walk right up that ramp. GG.
Innovation taking game number 1 here at the first match that we have in Group D. And well, strong performance here by Innovation, but I have to say that at the beginning, Revival definitely doing quite well. Didn't take down as many harvesters as they wanted to, didn't do as much damage as he hoped for, but still, that was a really well executed.
It was well done, and the hold from Innovation was decent as well, and he had that 3rd command, so that's what was allowed him to power through. He had a great recovery there, just having the macro that he's known for, pushing it forward, and he was able to start to attack that fourth base, and he got the perfect position. You talked about it a little bit, how he was using the terrain, getting on the low ground, having the concave of the low ground, so whenever Revival went down to attack, he wasn't able to actually trade efficiently.
One thing that you can really see is how Revival grows as a player. When he was still in TSL back in the days, the coach was always saying how Revival is one of the Revival and Ragnarok, how those are the two players that are really doing well these days, and that he expects great things from them in the future. Then TSL disbands, and they're already shown in the individual league a couple of results, not the best just yet, but you could just see that they were improving all the time. Now Revival being part of EG here, doing amazing for them, and we have also Ragnarok being part of LGIM, doing very well. Both of them just showing that all the potential and all the hopes that TSL had for them were absolutely justified.
Yeah.
Losing to Innovation, definitely nothing that you have to be ashamed of, but it's not even over yet. He lost the first map, but let's see what he can do on map number 2 against his opponent.
Yeah, he's chosen Neoplanet S, a map that a lot of Zergs are picking today, which is kind of funny because the map was really, really popular before. Zergs hated to play on it, but now it seems like they're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable.
We're jumping right into the game now. The map has already started. So guys, this is game number 2 between Revival and Innovation at the WCS Season 1 Finals in Korea.